What's up, fam? How's it going? It is 3:20 almost. This gorgeous last quarter moon coming up. It's unbelievable. So nice. This is the widest shot right here. Got the extender. I'm just trying to get all these different levels now. Bear with me, I'm gonna take some shots. And a few stills. What up, Ellie? What's up, Michael Stark? What's up, Light Moon? And anyone else just joining us this morning? I'm gonna go as long as I got some energy in me. Got a little spot of coffee. Got one more cig. Let's see how long it lasts. Intermittently, I'm gonna do this Earthshine dark side shot. This first one here. Killer division on the Terminator. It's like a black and white cookie. Yeah, so right now actually I have all the stuff going on the 11. Because the 11 gets so close up, I have to use an extender tube, which is essentially the 2X Barlow with the little lens in the front removed. So right now it's got the focal reducer, which makes it F6.3, and then the 2X Barlow tube, and then the camera. So this is the widest shot I can get, which allows, one, the fastest light gathering, and two, the widest shot, which gets the stars and the moon in the background. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the tube, take a shot, then remove the focal reducer, and then get the cam to scope. And then maybe even try the 3X because it's looking really sharp tonight, so. What up, Los Brooklyn? How you doing? Morning. Alright, so quick route to see where the Terminator's cutting the moon. Up at the very top. We got Goldschmidt Crater and Barrow. Then Mare Frigoris. And then the Alpine Mountain Range. Cutting into a little bit of Mare Imbrium. Got Archimedes, Aristilius, Autolycus, Aristoteles, Mare Vaporum, Sinus Medi, you got the trifecta of Ptolemaeus, Alphonsus, and Arzachel. And then the couple of craters, it's Thebit and Purback. A couple more, it's like a long chain. Regiomontanus, and then Walter crater. Yeah. And then Clavius and Tycho over here. Mighty nice. Alright, so now I'm going to remove the extender tube and go just focal reducer. Yeah, Michael Stark was the 11 CPC. Alright, so I got rid of the extender tube. This is the camera and the focal reducer. F6.3. Let's see what we got over here. This is jam. So let's head back quickly to Ptolemaeus. Very hexagonal looking. This whole series right here. Ptolemaeus, Alphonsus underneath it, kind of connected by a wall. And then there's a large crater in shadow. That's Albategnius. And you can kind of see a little bit of this. It's hard to tell, but there's a crater inside that called Klein. Underneath that, a damaged crater called Parrot. Let's settle here for a second, let the image get clear. There's a tiny little craterlet inside Ptolemaeus called Ammonius, which is about 9 kilometers across that tiny little one right in the center. So there's like a darkened crater with a little crescent moon inside it. That's called Herschel crater. Right above that, kind of a depression called Sporer. And then to the right of that, Gilden, Gylden, with that kind of marking in between the three of them. Almost looks like a machine gun. Let's see what that's called. I don't think there's a name for that. It's part of the Herschel formation. What's up, Salvador? Yeah, I agree. Hexagons show very interesting lattice formation. The inherent structure of the universe is really these hexagons and platonic solids. And so it's quite interesting how, in between the last show where I was doing Jupiter till now, I was watching some videos, just making sure, that I'm talking about the crater formation thing correctly. And sure, there must be some sort of impacts going on, but at the same time, there are certainly electric discharge machined craters that have very sharp features, especially kind of the very thin chains connected by flat-floored lines. You can see a few of them to the left of Ptolemaeus right here, and even the cuts kind of, for example, right between Herschel and Gilden, Star Crater. You kind of see very clear carvings into the land. Yeah, who was it? There was a whole 20-minute video on impact crater versus electric discharge craters, and I'm certain that there are some ballistic features that do occur, and that there are some craters that really, like he was talking about Plato crater being, deeper, and then the flat floor having filled up from, after Plato crater had been impacted. Let's go there for a second. Which looks sort of correct. So right here you got Plato crater, and the idea is that this was an impact crater, very large one, and then the flat floor is due to the fact that this molten rock at some point flowed up and then hardened, creating the flat floor. The particular relief right now, Plato, is not very telling. It almost looks like it's extruding outwards towards us, but keep an open mind about everything. Definitely some implied electrical machining across the lunar surface. Same thing with Lichtenberg, fractal patterns of kind of filamentary lightning bolts extending underground. I think just the inherent nature of electricity creating erosion features and landmass movements, just movements of land in a way being due to electrical fields, really creates even what we're looking at right now, where it kind of forks outwards and it branches, like the idea of branching is a very telling sign of the inherent nature of the universe. Yeah, if you're talking about cymatics, you certainly get lots of different platonic shapes and hexagons in groupings, of course, and then but you have pressure mediation too, like you have different sides of it. I feel like potentially, even sound could be explained through inherently electrical waves, so I wonder if it's any different, really, like maybe we just interpret sound and gravity and light really through electricity and vortexes. Prominently, you can see kind of the Terminator cut across the Apennine mountain range at the top, and it's really glinting at the bottom half of it, really. just going to zoom in there for a moment. Archimedes crater. Look at this incredible detail. Yeah, so Archimedes kind of is another one where apparently it was an impact and then lava or molten rock kind of came up from the bottom of it and hardened and created a flat floor to it. Remember, this is still with a focal reducer, so you can definitely get much closer on the zoom, just doing some wide shots here. There's this little area between Archimedes and the mountain range, Mons Hadley. It's called Palus Putredimus. Putridinus. All right, Palus Putridinus. And then to the right of that is Promontorium Fresnel. And then there's like a little mountain range underneath Archimedes called Montes Archimedes. Michael Stark says, I want to know what the moon sounds like. Every planet celestial object produces sounds. I've heard most of the planets, but not the moons, especially our moon. I think to be honest, whether or not the verification of Apollo data is on the table, apparently there are hums or electric vibrations that LRO has picked up, Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, and probably the Apollo missions picked up lunar hum. But we definitely must sense it or feel it in some way, in some different vibration. I mean, the moon is so powerful, and it's being stimulated by solar radiation constantly, and then reflecting that back at us. So maybe it's subsonic frequency, but certainly getting moon tunes. No, I don't have the feather touch focuser on the 11. I kind of didn't want to mess with the CPC 11 when I got it. It has its own, the fork mount and its built-in thing. And I actually tried the feather light or the moonlight focuser, the one with the motorized one, and it kind of fell apart after a few months. I tried it on the Nexstar 8 a while back, and now it's just laying in the closet. I don't know, I feel like it's more trouble than it's worth, unless you get it baked in on one of the custom scopes. Alright, so we're back here at the Apennine Mountain Range. Just want to get some ISO on it. At the very end of the range, you see Aristoteles, little crater with a kind of triangular central formation. Let's just settle here for a sec. All right. So this is cammed directly to the 11, and it's looking insane. Just hopping around real quick, just move down to Tico Crater. Whoa. Chill out, scope. Here we go. Gonna let it resolve for a second. We can see the really fine detail on the regolith. No, it's the old school Nexstar 8, but no, it's sitting actually right here next to the window. I use it kind of as a backup sometimes. I also got a new 6-inch Nexstar just for like backyard views, but really I haven't had a chance to use it much. Every time I'm on, I tend to stream, so last night was the first night I actually did some optical viewing. It was enjoyable. I missed the moon, but I got some nice optical Jupiter and Saturn. That was fun. Sometimes I gotta skip a stream or two just to make sure I do my own my little research. All right, look at this amazing detail on, what is this crater? Let's like double check. So that's Tico, just getting adjusted here. So Tico Crater, then Pictet is the little one next to it. Then we got So Sure next to that. The kind of square one is Orontius. There's two overlapping ones. What is that? Huggins and Mr. Dean. And above that, got the one that's like a crescent moon. That's Miller. All right, so the one above that is Walter Crater. That's the one I was looking for. So Walter. Has this really cool feature to the left, kind of like a little arrowhead. It's called Walter E. 13 kilometers, that little chunk. Yeah, it boggles the mind that we don't see what like the billionaires and millionaires have as far as telescopes. If I had that kind of money, that's the first thing I would get. Giant scope in the yard on a launch pad, exactly. Roll it out on a giant vehicle with a retractable roof. Okay, let me hold back and stay logical with the direction. All right, so that's Walter Crater. And then right above it is this kind of Aliacensis and Regiomontanus is this kind of region, elevated region. Regiomontanus, and then Aliacensis. What's this one with the rock in it? Yeah, that is Regiomontanus, okay. And then that raised mountain, that little one, is called Regiomontanus A. And then the shared, look at this looks like Castle Grayskull. You see this little, I don't even know if it looks like pareidolia. It definitely looks like a face or a butterfly or like a gateway. This shared bridge between the two craters. So the crater Regiomontanus is the bottom one, and then the one above it is Purbach, P-U-R-B-A-C-H, Purbach. Pretty sweet. Let me know if y'all can see it. It looks like maybe like a mask, you know, with two teeth. And then to the left of that is like a little tree balloon, like a balloon mushroom tree. But really the split between the two craters is awesome. And you got the little curlicues above that in Purbach crater. Wonder what created those little worms. Yo, what's up there, Frederick? Cheers, welcome. Just hanging out here. Yeah, hanging out here at Purbach Crater. I'm just following through, naming some weird places. All right, so what do we got? So Purbach, and then to the right of that, there's a crater that's in shadow. That is Blanchinus. And then above that, there's one that's kind of a little bit darkened to the left, almost like a creepy darkness. That's Lacaille, C-A-I-L-L-E, Lacaille. And then, I wonder, is it getting darker? Perhaps there are clouds. No, there are no clouds. What am I talking about? Back at it. So Purbach. Michael Stark says, have I seen Crow 777's Lunar Wave? Thoughts on that? Have I ever seen it myself? Yeah, so if you check back in the history of TakeBackSpace and Crow, you'll see that I did his first podcast episode and we chatted about it. And I've caught it 3 times. And I've actually caught a Jupiter wave as well. And, you know, in my opinion, it's not really something that you can 100% attribute to either jet trails or turbulent or atmospheric turbulence because it's such a particular event. Many people have captured it. It's very fine and very direct, and it actually has its own kind of speed. It's always in 2s. And it acts like a sonar, like a radar ping almost. And everybody who sees it notices that. I've shown it to a ton of people who don't believe in any types of conspiracies at all, and it always floors them. And they ask me the same, they almost ask reliably the same thing. They're like, have you asked a professional what they think it is? And I'm always like, you know, like, who would you really ask? There are tons of videos online for the lunar wave, and it's always been some sort of a stigma, like, point for many people. There are lots of like in-between pop sci and alien culturists who definitely want to attribute the lunar wave to like some sort of like blah phenomenon, like, oh yeah, whatever, lunar waves, don't take it too seriously. But then again, it's such an anomalous event given that I filmed the moon for what, at least 1,000 hours now, if not more, and that event has occurred only 3 times. So I've captured more satellites and more random crap going across the moon than that particular event. So, and I live next to an airport, several airports, and a what's it called, naval base. Never see it. It's never reliably aircraft jets. So that's my thoughts on it. It's still something that is outstanding in my mind, but maybe somebody, you know, lots of people think a lot of things don't exist. So. Yeah, I've talked to him about it, and you know, he kind of inspired me to do scoping way back when I watched his videos in 2012. But we definitely have a lot of different opinions on other things. So, what up, tree climbing? What's up there, Tyler 96? Yeah, so the craters on rims of other craters that even we're looking at right now, so a lot of features we're actually seeing. So the largest crater that looks like a hexagon, that's Purback crater, and it's got those two little snaky, like little S's in it. And then south of Purback we got Regiomontanus. And then there's a crater with a crater on the rim that looks like a little diamond ring. That's Thebit crater, Thebit. Thebit, and Thebit A is the little crater on the rim. And that's a particular feature that like doesn't look like an impact crater, you know what I mean? That's something that seems like there was maybe a large impact and then, I don't know. See, in my mind, I feel like electric discharge kind of makes surfaces boil and bubble and create these kind of blisters almost. Some of them pop, some of them don't, some of them just resist, you know, or break. And then that's how you get these hexagons, because hexagons form naturally in lattice, you know, crystal lattice structures at every level. And then you have central peaks that are super well defined that don't seem like they were shattered or anything. It seems like they just kind of were the remnants of a very high point of energy that was there for a while and then dissipated immediately and left this kind of quick center peak. And it happens on a lot of different craters. So that's the kind of, there are a lot of different, there are definitely craters that are caused by impact, but there's another feature here that's super interesting. This is Huygens' sword. Am I wrong? Rima Huygens, I want to say. No, this is Rupus recta, sorry. Yeah. Feature name Rupus recta. I want to say it's yeah, it's called the Straight Wall, or it's also called Huygens' sword, and also Rupus recta is the kind of, as you can see, almost center on the screen. It looks like a sword. It's really one of the best phases to see this feature. So yeah, Rupus recta, and then you got a tiny crater to the left of that called Birt, B-I-R-T. And a reminder to the right of that, that's Thebit crater. So all these features, these blister marks, in a way, is kind of, especially like right under Thebit, you see this feature that looks like a little creature almost that has legs that come out of it, and it so much looks like a Mandelbrot fractal set. Hey, thanks, Tyler. I appreciate that. I'm feeling like I got some energy tonight to talk about all these different, like, especially with this clarity. It's insanity. It makes me want to, like, just dive in and do all this lunar geology. And, like, what's crazy is just moving back down, we were looking at Purback, right? It had the two little snakes in it. And then south of that, Regiomontanus, and then Walter Crater is the third large one. And that one, you can see these great shadows that kind of make it look like it's almost like a giraffe is the periodolia that I'm seeing. Let me know if y'all see that. From the bottom of the screen, you'll see the little neck comes up, and the two dark shadows make up the negative space around the giraffe looking left. It's like a cute little giraffe. I'm gonna leave it there for a second. Yo, what up there, Z Proxy? Showing some crazy pareidolia. Walter Crater giving us some nice giraffe pareidolia with like a little flowery head cap. And then Regiomontanus. This makes me think of Joe Montana. And then Purback Crater with the two little snakes in it and looking extra hexagonal, sharp walls. And then you got Thebit A, and then Rupus Recta, the sword, Huygens sword, which in a way is a really hard feature to grasp because it's either like a carved feature, like a cave tunnel type of thing, or it's something where the land kind of, what the pop sci explanation is that the land kind of folded on itself and like pushed from the right, I guess, to the left and kind of created a fold in the land. But who knows? I mean, I think get a little bit closer and maybe it is a tunnel. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Alright, so that's a lot of this region. Let's keep moving north while we got some good views. So where was I at? I was at Thebit and Rupus Recta and Purback. I've said a bunch, but it's good to repeat it. And then there's this really nice indented region in the regolith above Thebit. That's Arzachel with a really defined center peak. I'm going to put it on the center of the screen so we can just reference it. So Arzachel has like a high center peak and it also has like a little craterlet to the right of that, Arzachel A. And it's got shelved walls, which apparently are a sign of impact, because that's what happens. It kind of creates these layered side walls. But at the same time, markings of electric discharge machining create like scalloped walls. So I don't know if these are necessarily scalloped. So maybe this is an actual impact crater, and that's the debris from it. Yeah, it's super duper clear tonight. What's up, Sebas? How's it going? It's been a while. What's happening? Just riding here with my space family. Looking for a little track to keep the tour going. do 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 do. Maybe chiller than that. All right. Cool. Yeah, so Arzachel crater, and then you got a few craters to the right of that, but these are all in shadow. The one that's fully in darkness that also has a bit of a hexagonal shape is called Parrot crater. Parrot. But I'm not sure if that's like a whole crater or not. It just feels like a region, and then Parrot is this little crater inside it. Actually, the crater on the rim of it is called Parrot, and that region that looks like a hexagon is actually not a crater itself. Hey, what's up, C. Smith? How's it going? About halfway through this tour, go back around. There are some really nice little features right here above Parrot and Arzachel. I'm trying to keep them both in view. And you kind of see the little, there definitely is this ejecta that you can see strewn left and right. Blast it one level higher. You can see that. There we go. Little monkey face to the right. And so we got a chain of large craters. So Arzachel is the one with the big central peak, and then you got another one connected to it. That is Alphonsus, and then there's one in the middle of the that meets them kind of halfway. It's a very small crater, but also has a center peak, and that is called Alpetragius. Yep. Alright, so Alpetragius, the little one, Arzachel, the one at the bottom, and then centering on the screen right now, that is Alphonsus crater, which each one of these has its own kind of identifying marker and great like feature. So Alphonsus right here, super large crater, very jagged walls. Also seems like it could have been an impact because it seems so kind of erratic. It doesn't feel like, yeah, you know what I mean? So I'm actually starting to really kind of get a grasp on the identifying features of carving versus impact, and you know, just at the nascent stages, of course, but still looks really amazing. Almost feels so dragon-like in a way. Yeah, Salvador, I'm quite familiar. Pretty much all the videos I put out have the links to the Electric Universe stuff in the description. You know, I say it a lot, it's not the be-all, end-all answer to everything, but it certainly gives us a great place to start asking better questions. And so certainly electric craters on the moon would be very important as a discovery or as a confirmation, because then of course, what created these electrical discharges on the moon? Was it within, you know, capturing the moon? Was it the moon from a distant place? Or, you know, did the moon's interaction with Earth actually create these, some of these features? So that would reopen a lot of questions and allow us to kind of move forward on lunar geology and planetary interaction. Yeah, so Alphonsus is apparently in the range of 118 or so kilometers and about 8,000 feet tall on the highest marker of the rim. So let's keep moving here. What's cool about Alphonsus, like I was saying, is it has its own kind of feature. So center peak and then kind of a land fold in the middle that extends all the way through. But again, that could also be a sinuous rill or a raised like tunnel feature. And then finally, we reach Ptolemaeus, a very, very well-defined hexagon. Almost lower walls than Alphonsus, excuse me. And then this is about 154 kilometers across, which is quite big, one of the largest. It's so funny that it's that large, but almost not really noticeable if you don't have the kind of shadow relief. So I was showing you this little crater inside Ptolemaeus. So just for reference where we are right now, we're about halfway. Oops. This little red reticle. So we're right under, or you know, to the bottom right of Copernicus and the Apennine mountain range, and just at the last crater of the long chain of large craters, hexagons. Again, Arzachel, and then Alpetragius, the little one, and Alphonsus, and then Ptolemaeus, with the tiny little crater inside it. And we finally reach the little crater above Ptolemaeus, which is darkened on one side and has a little crescent moon on the right side of it. That's Herschel crater, which is pretty famous. I don't know why, but I know it's famous. I don't think we landed there, but maybe it's just that I've heard it so many times when referenced on the moon. really interesting land formations to the right of Herschel crater. Was that a cloud? I can't tell, like that was strangely dim. Maybe a bird passed through. Yeah, so almost like stretched and tortured regolith next to Herschel. And you got to the right of that a flattened little crater called Gilden. And then above Herschel crater, you've got Sporer, S-P-O-R-E-R. And to the left of Sporer, this is not a very well-defined crater, but it is a feature called Flammarion. That's the coolest one so far tonight. Flammarion? Flammarion, maybe? Yeah. So Flammarion region or crater. That's the top left of Herschel. Again, Herschel is the one with the black and the little white crescent. Yeah, Salvador, the two craters side by side, the double lobed shape. It seems like it's a common, inherent shape in nature, almost like the two cells wall, side by side, or the asteroids that are double lobed. Alright, so let me get back to the atlas here. Alright, Flammarion, and then Rima Flammarion above that. And you got a little darker crater, another one that is in slightly different shadow, like almost 40% of it's dark. And it's got its own little crescent. That crater is called... I want to say it's called Mosting. Yeah. M-O-S-T-I-N-G. It's 27 kilometers across. And then you got another interesting, like, dented crater to the left of that. That's called Summering. So Summering and Mosting are the two craters on the screen right now, dead center, left and right. And some chromatic shifting. Turbulent waves. Alright, so now we've entered a different type of land region. Kind of mixed mountains, kind of overlapped. It feels like things were layered over here. Almost like there was a whole region and then it kind of got either ejecta over it. Yeah, this really feels like, for maybe the first time, noticeably looking like the edge of ejecta, or at least a huge amount of dirt, like splattered at the edge of this region. This area is called Schroeder. It says Pyroclastic Southern Sinus Astum. Yeah, it's just nuts how large it is. Alright, so I'm getting up here. This is starting to hit the Apennine Mountain southern region. Just want to make sure we don't miss stuff. There are a couple of areas here that I wanted to touch base with. All right, this super cool, also like side-by-side, double-lobed looking owl shape. You can kind of see the two eyes and a little beak. And this region is called, okay, to the left eye is called Pallas, to the right is called Murchison. And the little beak is Pallas E, Pallas F. That little crater to the top left of it's called Bode, the one with the dark and the little crescent. And the little crescent right to the right of that is Chiadni, which reminds me of Chiadni patterns, speaking of cymatics. Yeah, we can definitely take a look at the dark side, the Earthshine portion of the moon. I was just trying to take advantage of the zooms, as always. Let's do a little bit more, and then do a wide shot. So you can see this is like a giant devil bullhead eating an astronaut. Let me know if you can see that craziness, or that's just my imagination running wild. Also fascinating that the little region that looks like a K looks like it's being reflected in the darkness to the right of that. So much pareidolia going on here. Come on, tell me you see the giant bullhead devil eating the astronaut. Or at least the astronaut melting into the regolith. Z, what are you talking about with the Starlink thing flyby? Was that something like a satellite passing by tonight, or was that the SpaceX thing? That word came up a bunch, but I'm not remembering what it is right now. I'm deep in the pareidolia. All right, let's move on from this region. Super cool. Murchison, Chiadni, Pallas, Bode crater. Wait, there was one more region, right? Okay, so we have the... Okay. And then speaking of bowls, look at this kind of the pyroclastic structure. If I leave it here, you'll kind of see like the very faint, not lowland, but kind of the darker lower region of the mountainous region almost looks like a bull as well, like a weird Picasso type bull with an eyeball outside in the negative space. Really stretching here. Maybe some gunk coming out of its nose. A bull blowing its nose. Oh, let me show you the astronaut in case you didn't see it. What I'm talking about with the astronaut is this like crater with this region that's very white. It's just like the top of an astronaut's head almost melted into the moon. It's like super, super white, and then the visor is really dark, and it's the center of your screen underneath the letter K. JK. It also looks like a J. Alright. J.R.R. Martin Tolkien. J.R. Tolkien Martin. Chris Martin. Alright, moving through. Look at this alien looking bassy thing. This definitely looks like some nerd. What is it? Are they the nerds? Wait, what's the StarCraft thing? The Zergs. Sorry, the nerds. the Zergs. It looks like BoJack Horseman. Yeah, it looks like his niece, right? Hollyhock. All right, so look, this definite alien base over here, little spider hole. You know I'm joking, I don't believe in aliens, but it definitely looks like something from an alien movie. Nice, Ellie. Random Picasso reference. Alright, so obviously that's not a hole. It's just like the shadow of the region right above, right to the left of that. And that region actually is called Marco Polo, of all things. Let's keep moving up here. So this is this region is the south of the Apennine Mountains, the beginning of the Apennine Mountain Range, which can you imagine heading up on an adventure and reaching this BoJack Horseman region, and then following up the trail and being like, holy crap, these are like, this is the beginning of this ginormous mountain range. For reference, like we're right here. And it goes all the way from like this red marker to the north to Plato Crater. It's very funny how it actually ends in Plato Crater and starts with Aristoteles. So let's take a look at Aristoteles before moving up. Aristoteles has that cool V shape, triangular shape. I remember seeing this on UFO sites and being like, holy crap, is that like a T3RB craft? But it certainly is not. That thing is massive and likely made out of moon rock. But I could have been fooled. I could have been fooled when you put like red arrows next to it and say UFO. You could definitely fool some people. So Aristoteles crater, looking really nice. I'm just trying to set it to focus for a second. Let the turbulence move through. Thanks for hanging out with me, y'all. Got a few people in the chats. Let me know if you're doing okay. Huh and dang. I know, crazy Ellie, right? Tyler, BoJack, cool. Z-Proxy, you still with me? All right. I don't know, now I have some energy rolling up on about 420 over here. I don't see vision though. Got no vision. And that's a problem, because have our smoke without him. Catch you tomorrow, my man. Or now when you're watching it in the morning. Alright, where we at? Apennine Range, Aristoteles. Okay, let me recenter it. Alright, so this moves up. Starts at Mons Wolf, Mountain Wolf, and then Eratosthenes. Did I say Eratosthenes? I hope I did. Aristoteles. Did I say Aristoteles or Eratosthenes? This is Eratosthenes. If I've been saying it wrong the whole time, sorry. So Eratosthenes. And then Mons Wolf. I only blaze trails of scientific exploration. No, I don't know, man. I don't know. Just having a cigarette right here. So, where are we at? Mons Wolf. Mons Ampere. Mons Huygens, Mons Apenninus, So going up this whole kind of mountain range, it's a lot of different regions that I can't really pinpoint. One day when I have a Cintiq tablet and I can draw on the screen, I'll show y'all. Let's see. We got Mons Hadley Delta, and we got Mons Hadley, we got Promontorium Fresnel is sort of where I'm reaching right here. So this region's kind of, this has some creepy clown mask stuff going on. Should I leave it up? Because I saw it, now y'all should see it. What's going on here with this creep fest? Right, it's like some dog meets some clown with some fiery white hair and like the kind of diamond eye, right? It's so weird. Surely the stuff of nightmares. All right. Getting through. Thankfully, there are so many things that happen on this space show that like I won't remember that when I go to bed tonight. Let's move into this Pallas Putridinus. This is this kind of shape, state-like shape. It could easily be like some Midwestern state right here. Not Florida, but something. And it rules right into Archimedes, which is an incredible, very polished looking crater. But definitely, I'm open to the fact that this could have been filled up with some molten rock and then cooled, therefore making it some sort of impact crater but at the same time, it has this unique wall shape that's kind of irregular, which is a telltale feature of electric discharge. Especially all this kind of lead up right here, which looks like carvings and not really ejecta. Archimedes looking great. So here's an interesting one. This is almost like the Montes Recti that I always talk about with the one that looks like words up near Plato. But this is one down by Archimedes. I've seen it before, but not very many times. This is Montes Spitzbergen. It's kind of an array of like white seashell almost looking shapes, but they're obviously giant, ginormous. It's something like, what is it, 60 by 15 kilometers and about 4,000 feet tall. This string of little white features. So I wonder what that is. Like, is that like a very slow moving impact that just reached the surface very slowly and then shattered? Or was that like, I don't know, it's very, very interesting because bright white indicates that it's younger than the region around it. So it feels like maybe it came by later, or maybe it was shattered by some other means. Maybe it was one object. Because can you imagine like that's one object like shooting, like arriving at the moon like at that speed? It would create a massive impact. Unless it's some debris left from Archimedes, but who knows? All right, there are a couple of craters right here which look really awesome. They got two little crescent moons inside them. The one to the north is Aristillus, and the one to the bottom is Autolycus. Spitz poop crater, exactly. Spitz toothpaste. Aristillus, And then Autolycus again. These are very cool looking right now. I'm just gonna bust up the ISO touch so we can see them a bit better. Actually, let me get that nice wider shot with all three of them. Right, so Montes, Spitsbergen, Archimedes crater, and then Aristillus. Autolycus is the smaller one. And then in between them is this region called Sinus Lunicus. Sinus Lunicus is kind of the square or like diamond shape in between Archimedes, Aristillus. And then remember that shape, the state shape underneath? That is Pallas Putridinus. So I love it. This is like, what, 4 years into TakeBackSpace, and it's the first time I've been able to really put this all together in such great detail. Because really it's so hard to see sometimes that, I mean, getting this type of clarity is just great. All right. And where we start to reach now is kind of the rim of, not the rim, but like the outer periphery of Mare Imbrium to the right. And then further north than that, what we'll reach is this very cool little mountain by itself, casting a very long shadow. Howdy, howdy, Norwegian flavor. Just getting about 50-60% up the moon on the Terminator and just calling out all these features. All right, so I'm just quickly trying to find this. It's above Aristillus, and then to the right of that, that's right in shadow, that's Cassini crater. It has the two little craters inside it. So this is Mons Piton, Piton. And Mons Piton is 25 kilometers, I guess, across, and about 6,800 feet tall. This tiny little, well, it looks like a little rock almost, but it's casting a shadow that's clearly like, what is it? If Cassini, the crater to the right of that is 58 kilometers, so it's about 80, it's casting an 80 kilometer long shadow from a 25 kilometer, a 7,000 foot tall structure. That's still amazing, such a cool feature. You can really tell the kind of differentiation between that and the shadow in the crater underneath that, Aristillus and Autolycus again. I know I say them a lot, but I'm trying to really drill them in a bit, especially because like this is good for me too. Really killer shot of the Alpine mountain range where we finally hit. This is starting to get to north of Mare Imbrium. And you can also see the folds in the land, which is really cool, the layering. Like branching patterns. So getting right here to the north, this is Plato on the left, Mare Frigoris to the north, Montes Alpes, and then my favorite feature, Valles Alpes, is sort of shown, sort of not really, but it's right here and it's at an angle. So it's just causing some really cool trippy pareidolia right here. This one looks like a tripped out mask with one eye missing on the left. See if you can see it. Like a skull mask, almost. I would say like some D. Antwoord style shit. Almost like hidden into the sand. I'm just shocked that there isn't one large telescope that isn't streaming the moon like 24/7 or like not 24/7, but like for, you know, North America and then South America, and like picking up that stream. Like the moon should be visible on YouTube pretty much all the time. Look at this, what's going on? Getting some heat waves. Look at this sharpness. It's crazy tonight. I love it. I love waiting for these phases because it makes it completely worth it. Let's take a few snapshots. Thanks for bearing with me going up all the way through all those features. Norwegian Flavor says Monte Spitsbergen looks like the islands, also called Svalbard. That's cool. I dig it. Like some of these features are like some of my favorite ones on the moon. These like independent islands, island of little mountains. Let's check that out again. Actually, let me push the ISO. I'm on Spitsbergen. Okay. So these are some of my favorite features coming up right here. This little chicken foot looking amazing tonight. Mons Tenerife Pico. Mons Pico is the one casting the shadow, a shorter one. Getting some blue and orange fringing. And then Montes Recti. This one that looks like a word, almost its little island as well. Call 444. Tonight it doesn't look like fours, it looks like something else. Let's let it resolve and see what happens. Kalava. Kasela. Who knows what you say to me? My word. What's up, Cosmic Surfer? Good to see you, bud. You showed up on a good stream. This is some really sharp moonage, as you can see. Some of the nicest I've had this year. Plato crater in view with a broken wall, the lip to the left. Nice sharp definition on the shadow. But it really looks like it's like a blister. You don't see the walls because we're kind of looking at it dead on right now, even though it is looking elongated. Exactly, go Chickenfoot Island, right here. And looking at it yeah, it definitely looks like a little chicken foot. Or a little raptor claw. Definitely raptor claw. I mean, look at this. Actually, what's so cool is if you take Play-Doh off of screen and you kind of move back into it, you see the walls a bit better and they look more like they're towering, which they are. I mean, you can see it in reference to Mons Tenerife. Tenerife. Oh, Tenerife. I love the chipped wall in Play-Doh because it's like it's super duper massive and it's just sitting there in stasis. Almost, I gotta say, like Play-Doh actually, it's making me think it looks more like an octagon. Y'all see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, am I wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, still a hexagon. Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking maybe it was a little octagon-y, but it's hexagon. Still hexagon. And the nice little carvings right above it. It doesn't look like ejecta, but who the hell knows what that is? Very straight lines crossing. These little markings do sort of look like ejecta. And let's check out Sinus Iridum, which is going to look amazing. Amazing. Damn, look at that. So let's show for reference the Bay of Rainbows. Also one of the cooler features. I feel like every feature is super cool on the moon. But tonight, and this particular night, you got Sinus Iridum in full glory. You can see the walls very cleanly. And fascinating, you know, that the content of the like iron or titanium in the regolith or in the frozen lava rock or whatever the flatlands are made of. And you can see Montes Recti in the top corner, the little word. I mean, look how sharp it is, y'all. This is the stuff you get from stacking, and we're seeing it live. Yeah, forgive me, octagonal. I don't know what I was thinking. It's like 4:35 a.m. here, and I'm just working off of lunar energy right here. Lunar energy running my mind. So no octagons. All right, so let's just quickly check out north of right here in Mare Frigoris. See what features are noticeable and looking nice. Look at this, man. It's crazy. Every part of the moon tonight is looking excellent. I'm gonna turn up the ISO just a bit more. And check out Mare Frigoris and see some features. Let's call them out. We got. All right, so there are 3 dark craters in the center of the screen, like right off the center. So the one in the center of those 3, that's Epigenus. Yeah, Epigenus. And then the smaller one is Timaeus. And then above that is Anaxagoras, which I've talked about before. I think that is correct. And I think that the one to the left of that is Philolaus. And that's this one. Kind of having its own unique identifier tonight, Philolaus. And then to the right of that, there's kind of stretch. North of it is Mouchez Plateau. And then we get to those 3 dark craters. So Anaxagoras, Epigenes, and where'd you go? And Timaeus. It's a little periodolia here with the number 3, kind of outlined by the white region. 3 with 2 dots, or not even 2 dots, just the letter 3, the number 3. Yeah, I think I can go for a little bit longer. It's always worth it when it's this sharp, you know, plus it's Saturday night. I used to stay up later for dumber things. Way dumber things. Okay. So that was a little Mare Frigoris. Thanks for going through all the Terminator features. Now, what shall we do? I think maybe it's time to go a little bit wide and get some Earthshine. Shall we check some Earthshine? Earthskeen. I kind of want to keep the zooms going. I don't know. Let me know what you think you'd like to look at. More zooms or wide shot with dark side. And I'll check on Clavius right here, which I guess we didn't look at. We started right above that. So we have Tycho. There are 4 craters in view. So Tycho at the top of the screen looking amazing. And then Clavius at the bottom of the screen also looking amazing. But then you got feature left and a feature right, and those 2 are called Longomontanus on the left and Maginus crater to the right. and Clavius having really killer views tonight. You can see the basically, I guess they call it a chain of craters. But like, what a crazy feature to have, you know, this perfect succession of ever smaller, ever larger craters within this other crater. And in a way, I feel like the largest one has its own little peak inside it as well. And further, you have two craters, top and bottom of Clavius. And God damn, look at the sharpness on the... I feel like Rick and Morty over here. God damn! Yeah, the southern region of Clavius, this little subset has ridged, oh, that's Blancanus. Blancanus? And it has this ridged slope that you can really see in detail, which I don't think I've ever noticed before. Yeah, look at the steps. You can see the steps on this Blancanus crater, which I guess I've never seen. And then I'm just staying here for a second at Clavius because also incredible detail. I kind of want to put the 3x in, but this amount of light is really good. I'll take a quick snapshot. Sharp. Look at that. Super duper sharp. And let's take one up in the middle. Little barefaced pareidolia. And then one up top with Mare Imbrium. Alright, so let's take a look at Aristarchus and see what's happening. I feel like it's not at its best tonight. It's at a particularly bad angle, actually. Damn, Copernicus looks good. Eratosthenes top right. Actually, scratch that. Aristarchus looking pretty amazing tonight, actually. I guess I was counting it wrong. Look at that. Herodotus, and you can see Schroeder's Valley too. Let's look deeper into Aristarchus. You want me to turn it to black and white? All right. Let me know if you meant inverted or just contrast the black and white. So that's black and white with like zero saturation. Man, look at that shot of Aristarchus. You can see deep in the crater. You can see the floor. You can see Herodotus to the left, the kind of flattened region. Nuts. Journey to the other side. Okay. So just of note, for me, Aristarchus is probably the most one of my favorite features, or probably my most favorite feature. It's just a collection of just incredible structures. One of the most interesting craters for sure, Aristarchus crater, glowing, and has, you know, these interesting sides to it. Almost really looks carved, or like a sharp erosion. And then you have the flat-floored crater to the left of that, Herodotus, that has its own feature. Then you have Schroeder's Valley, the long, kind of snake-like feature that you can see. It actually looks like a Y here. But I mean, there's no start of it. You know, there's no like volcano to create this long tunnel. And it's not a landfold. And it goes on for something like 250 odd kilometers. So I feel like Aristarchus, and then let me just zoom out one level. See all the filaments coming out of it. Yeah, the green terrain square. Yeah, I mean, there's the whole plateau region, right? And then there's this kind of, I'm gonna throw back the color for a second. I just switched the filter on the open broadcast software. So it has like a few filter settings. So yeah, you can really see the color come out right now. You have some pyroclastic stuff going on to the top right of that, these little filaments. Also very dark, but when it gets clear, you see that it's almost like a pressed in depression, but it's a diamond shape, or almost like a rectangle, I guess, at an angle. And then the fact that Aristarchus, you know, randomly appears at the corner of this, you know, totally possible that there was this plateau that was a diamond, and then there was an impact that came and hit it at the exact corner. But again, it looks it's so strange. And then the filamentary structure coming out of it, I guess, also could be attributed to ballistic impact, but again, it could also be attributed to like a very, very large discharge electrical bolt that created this whole kind of region around it, and of course Aristarchus crater. And potentially, you know, Schroeder's Valley, the sinuous rill that goes right behind it, that could have been like sputtering. So I don't know if it's rocks. I mean, I feel like what is the plateau exactly? Like I think about it all the time. I mean, this is why this feature solely, like when I first saw it, especially at these phases, I was like, man, how is this not like one of the most talked about features on the moon or in science in general? Because, you know, one, we can see it so clearly, and it has all these different effects all in one region, and it also really like defies logic in terms of how defined the diamond or the plateau is, and it's so large, and you know, many other things go along with it. So let's look at that in conjunction with Copernicus and Kepler, which I find also really fascinating, just that they all showed up in the same region. Excuse me. Yeah, Copernicus, look at that. I mean, this is such a great phase because you get to see all of these in relief, but without being washed out as well. So trying to think about Copernicus within the context of impact versus electrical discharge, you know, it's a hard one to gauge. You know, my initial thought was that it really does look hexagonal. It's got these very crazy, like carved walls, and it's got central peaks, and it has all these filamentary structures, this kind of layered, almost like it basically had a huge blister and then everything kind of exploded outwards. But that also could have been caused by a massive impact. But it feels like an impact that large would have really just done so much more damage. But it also depends on like what the surface of the moon, you know, the consistency or how deep it really goes. I don't know if we've done excavation really on the moon to the point of digging past a few feet. Maybe other programs have, but you wonder like what an impact of that size, you know, the 50+ kilometer size, or like how big that meteorite or asteroid must have been to create, you know, a 50 to 80 kilometer wide impact site like this. It almost looks imprinted. It almost looks, actually, in a way, besides it looking very platonic shape, it looks like a bullet that smashed into a very strong, like a steel surface and just melted. Can you imagine? Like, of course, that's just an optical trick that makes it look like it's extruded, but it's not. It's concave. Yeah, the focus is changing because, you know, my view is above the water, and I definitely get the kind of humidity and atmospherics from the water ever so regularly. So it's kind of an ever-growing wave of like a little bit out of focus, a little bit in focus. It's like this current stream that's so constant. And depends on the altitude as well. All right, so it's a little Copernicus, a little Aristarchus. Let's take a look at Kepler real quick. It's turning into quite the show. I was just hoping that it would be nice, and it's better than I expected. But I guess there is ejecta coming off of Copernicus. But you know what's fascinating? I think that, like, even if it is impact, it's creating features that look electric. And so at the very fundamental level, even ballistic impact, like what is, you know, what are pulling things together? What is, you know, it might all be caused by electricity and therefore fundamentally look electric in nature, even if it is ballistic. Got Kepler in view, Kepler, with its really prominent rays. You know, it's interesting how Kepler looks really different than Copernicus, and but it's almost as prominent in its impact scar. Yeah, no, the big hexagon that you're talking about, Oceanus Procellarum Basin. I think I'm losing view because I gotta push the scope a little further out. Let me stretch my legs as well. I'll be right back. I gotta say, a bit of diminishing returns on the adding the 3x, because when you zoom in it's just a little too close to make out the right detail. But it's nice for like recording a wide shot like this with deep magnification. That was super duper close. Tycho Crater and Clavius. And get a little bit of this. I think I'm finally fading, y'all. I'm gonna do a wide shot real quick and then hit the sack because I'm tired, man. This has been super duper fun and well worth it. Yeah. So funny how using more magnification just kind of made it the least exciting shot of the night. But man, is it holding up. Look at the detail on the edge with the 3x. All right, my peoples, this is all synchronistic anyway. The moon is hitting my window. Like I said, the last couple of nights has been rising further and further south, so I get less and less of it. This has been perfect though. Thanks so much everybody for hanging out this late with me and early as well. Good to see Z and Kaz. Nice to see y'all brothers. Hope y'all are doing well. The years go on and the moon still's there. And we keep watching. Ellie, thank you. Michael, great chatting. C. Smith, have a good one. Salvador, stay electric, my man. Who else we got? And everybody else watching tomorrow. I know we had somebody else. Norwegian Flavor, thanks for hanging out. And Sebas, and Tree Climbing, and Tyler, and that's it. Take care, everybody. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow, maybe the night after, but definitely have some Jupiter for y'all, and we'll see that great red storm unraveling. Keep it real, and go check out some Electric Universe stuff, and leave some thumbs down on some bullshit science. Make sure we're calling them out. All right, everybody. Peace. Good night.